What is going on, collectors? Optical 20 back for another video review. Today we are going to take a look at the Inart figure Paul Atreides from Dune, first one. And this is not the deluxe version, this is the standard edition. I think I'm the only one who has reviewed. I think there's a couple on YouTube that reviewed the standard edition. Most people, when you talk about Inart, they're pretty good. No, they're actually, I would say, the best currently at rooting hair, better than the artisan versions, but it's a little bit more expensive, so I decided to go with the standard edition, just to save a little bit of money there. Would I regret it? We'll find out. But this is the box, and it's the unboxing for Inart is always an experience that any collector should at least get through once or twice, because they have a brown box, and then they have an outer box, and then they have this box right here. But not only that, forget about the boxes, but the sheer amount of accessories and finding out what's inside is always a treat when it comes to Inart. Now, I feel the same way when I'm unboxing Hot Toys, but I don't know, maybe because Inart only makes 3 figures a year, or releases 3 figures a year, sometimes 4, that it feels a little bit more special. I'm not gonna lie, every single time that I unbox an Inart figure, you kind of don't know what you're gonna get. Are you gonna get a broken figure, or one of the most, one of the best figures that you ever seen? It's a little bit of both in my case here with Paul Atreides. So like I said, I've always loved unboxing Inart, and each individual item here has like its own packaging of some sort, which is really cool if you look at it that way. And then he does have that foam packaging, so it makes it, I don't know, feel a little bit more premium. So let's take a closer look at the accessories. You got a closed fist here. The gloves are amazing when it comes to Inarts. Like, they're really good at making hands. Now, these hands are amazing, by the way. You can see the ring of the House of Atreides right there, because their hands are like custom. It's custom made for what it is for. Like, this hand right here is made to grasp this thumper, and it's not the generic open palm resting, gripping hands. Even their gripping hands is tailor made for the accessory that he needs to grip. This is not a generic pose, aka Hot Toys, that you always get. Like the expressive hands of Spider-Man is the same as Deadpool, for example, or Flash. You're not gonna get it from Inart. And then you get this knife. What do you call this knife? I think it's Chris knife. It's not die cast or anything, but there's a lot of details in this one, and it has a sheath as well. I don't really know where to put this, I mean, you put him in his hand, obviously. So look at this. If this was Hot, so that is not the hand. So it is a bit loose. If it's Hot Toys, it's that hand that are, kind of like circular, and then you just insert the knife. This is snug fit. Look at this. So the other hand is totally for a different, but you get the idea here. Like, the hands, as I was never really paying too much attention to them, at least back in the Hot Toys days, up until Inart, where now you got companies like Poor Toys who makes super expensive hands. Now I'm not gonna deep dive into that, because that's, the prices for that is ridiculous. But for Inart, you are getting that, so for sure. And then this is a little bit harder too. But once you put him in, like that gun, you're set. I'm not gonna remove the gun ever again. And this is, what is this? I think this is the shield, right? Like you put it on his wrist, and then you get the paracompass here, which is open. There's a closed version on his backpack. This has a lot of details in it. It's pretty cool, nicely painted as well. And now you get to the mask, which I have a little bit of issue on, because you really can't put this on the figure. It's supposed to hang on his neck from the pictures that I've seen, but the rubber on the back is not really elastic, so I wish it was a bit longer so you can have it hanging on his neck, kind of like a necklace of some sort. So if you have the unmasked version, you put there, but it's not the case. And this is the the hook that he used to have, when he's riding the worm. I don't think he did that on the first Dune. I think he did that on Dune 2, if I'm not mistaken. But I am happy it is here nonetheless, because we don't know. Are we gonna get Paul Atreides from 2? I hope so. That movie was amazing. And then you got the second one. So again, once I insert this to the hand, this is never coming off. So how you insert this, and they don't show it on the manual, just kind of jam it in. That's it. There's nothing to remove. I guess the silver bits at the bottom is removable. Some people are reporting that it got out of them, but in my case, you just kind of just push it inside there. You just gotta force it. You force your way in, and then once it would grip, and it's not gonna move there whatsoever. So like I said, I'm gonna keep it like this because that hand has no use whatsoever but for the hook anyway. And you got this nice, we'll call it a cloak, and you got his backpack, which looks pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, this backpack is heavy. It is useful because it really does have some contents inside. However, while filming this backpack is a bit heavy, that the magnet on his back makes it uneven for him to stand because of the backpack. So he's gonna be heavy on one side, and you can see that is the paracompass, which is closed. That is, I believe that is the night and day scope, if I'm not mistaken, day-night telescope. And then there's a one, what do you call that? That's not a sand compactor, right? Like the one on the bottom, maybe. But yeah, it's pretty cool. You can have him hold this one as well, so that backpack is not just for, just for design or for aesthetics. It actually has a purpose, and it's pretty cool. You could insert it in his back. It's pretty snug. See, this is the hand, I would say, or if not, there's obviously some hands who can hold this. There you go. Hold this, the bigger one right here. So you can have him hold this. You can have it reversed when he's trying to look in the scope, whatever the case may be. There is a hand for a specific accessory, and that's how it should be. And for these guys, I'm not even gonna try to remove that. Like that snap onto the back of the backpack. You got, we'll take a closer look on the secondary head sculpt, and this is the base, which looks pretty cool. I love this base. It's magnetic. You can adjust the magnet in the back right here. I think this is limited edition as well. I wish they would put at the bottom, what edition number this is, 1 out of 3,000 or something like that. But this is really cool. Let's take a closer look at his suit. It is nice. I like this still suit look because it looks very tactical. He looks like a ninja. Although it has some limitations when it comes to posing it, but aesthetic wise, I can't complain. The only complaint I have is that thing that inserts in his nose. And you can see on the neck, a lot of people are having issues, apparently. I don't know if it's both in the deluxe and non-deluxe version. That one broke on me instantly. So that's one of the damages that I have. A little bit of a gripe with Inart when it comes to this. This was an expensive figure. Getting it here. This has a global license on Inart, but I still wanted to get this from Big Bad Toy Store, which I normally where I would get my figures, and this was pretty expensive. So breaking right off the bat is a little bit of disheartening, so to speak, for me. But going back to the suit that he does have, it is amazing. Like just the sheer details, the paint. It looks like it's not brand new. It has a little bit of grayish tint to it. The fabric that they used. Now, I'm not too fond of those rubber on his legs because it really does hinder articulation. This is one of the first, if not the first, Inart figure that I have that is not highly articulated. Most of them are. Joker, Man of Steel, Aragorn. This is the first one who, if you're moving it around, it feels like a Batman hot toy, so to speak. Outside of the arms, even the shoulders does feel stiff. But it doesn't feel like you're gonna break the suit, the still suit though. If I'm posing it around, it feels pretty good in hand. Now let's take a look at the mask head sculpt first, because I think this is phenomenal. I didn't put the hood on, but look at that. Look at that eyes. Don't tell me you don't see Timothée Chalamet in there. The eyebrows, the eyes itself, just amazing. And how they integrated the rolling eyeball system in here is phenomenal. You can probably already see the gap, but still, the way it was done, it's almost seamless. And you'll feel the exact same way, honestly, with the unmasked head sculpt. This one, I don't know if they got lucky or whatever the case may be, because Hot Toys did this with the Flash as well, and that is seamless as well. But the paint application for the eyebrows and the eyes is just perfection. Perfection. Now, he doesn't have blue eyes on Dune 1 yet. So, but I believe there's a third-party company who's selling blue eyes, which you can swap it out. Look at this. You just remove it, and he doesn't have a nose. Kind of disturbing here, but he does not have a nose. Now, he kind of reminds me of a ninja with this still suit, and that you don't need a tool, kind of like Hot Toys, so you can just move it with your thumb. Mine, I believe, dropped like the gray area on this one, but this is pretty cool. Yep, there you go. There's like a handle, but you can just attach it again if needed. And their magnets are like reversed Hot Toys. Their magnet is super strong compared to the Hot Toys, where the moment you take it out, the magnet would be, unglued, so you gotta glue it back. Not a big deal, but this head sculpt, again, is phenomenal. There were two factors that made me pause when I was about to get the deluxe version, and one of them obviously is the price. The second one is the unpredictable nature of rooted hair. With my Joker, maybe it's just PTSD from the Joker that I have, because the Joker one, the purple coat is pretty good, and then the jail scene Joker wasn't that good. And then I had Aragorn, which is decent, not as bad. It's actually pretty workable. But I've seen others, in reviews and whatnot, and pictures on Instagram that are a little bit better. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get the rooted hair version, so I have some consistency, so I know exactly what I'm getting. And boy, this also has some issues, because I will show you later on the damages. Some of the hair has chips on it. The back part is hard to remove, super hard. When I talk about the super glue earlier, yes, that is the case with this Paul Atreides as well. But you can't deny how good this head sculpt is despite those issues. This is definitely I would say 9 out of 10, if not 10 out of 10. This is Timothée Chalamet in a 1/6 scale format. I wish I still have gotten the deluxe version. I would, just judging by the pictures, that is the better version out of the two. And a part of me is kind of wishing I did go for that. So let's take a closer look at the articulation here. So there's a hood, and then you can see the, I don't know what you call that, the one he sticks in his nose to breathe. There is some restriction you can see from the armpits here. You can move the arm forward, and you could do so. You can even raise it higher if you are feeling a bit riskier that day. You can certainly bend the elbows pretty tight here. The body that Inart has is phenomenal, but this suit, with a combination of rubber and a tight, I don't know what you call that material, it's a bit thicker, but not really. The rubber pieces makes this a hard to pose figure. Now look at the threads on his shoe. You can adjust certain things. Now double jointed on the knee. I don't know how they made that pose where he was kind of like not splitting, but legs far apart, trying to, have that knife fight. But it's hard. It is extremely difficult. And even inputting this head for most people, they started having issues. Mine is even backwards. You can see the instructions that they have. They put up on instructions where you have to pull the hood first. This is a one neck figure, so you can only have so many range of movements. So these are the damages that I have. One of them, well, like I was saying earlier, the peg was backwards for me, so that's not a damage. You can just turn it around. But this nose plug for his breathing, I don't know, oxygen. The moment I held it in my hand, I was like, all right, I'm gonna insert it on the nose. It snapped. It should have been rubber, so we don't have this issue. It should have been a part of that thing where I'm gonna show it to you. So I super glued it, but you pretty much can't hold it ever again. So and it's a pretty big thing. That is a look that he does have. And this one as well, maybe I should have done this where, and this is hard to get, so you gotta grip it from the back. And this is what happened to my hair. You see those missing paint chips? I saw it on my hand, like just the paint. You can see it on my fingers right now, because I did get some markers to mitigate that damages. But other than those two, not really a big deal. I've kind of fixed it on my own. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. Nothing comes with no issues nowadays. And this is him. We'll go through the faces here before we wrap this thing up. So you could display him like this, just bare, and I think it looks good. With just his still suit, no cloak, no hoodie. Although you could use that hoodie, but it's up to you, because you might damage again the hair. It's a bit tight. And him holding the gun. And this is him without the backpack. The backpack, as a matter of fact, shifts the weight to the back. So I'll show it to you later. I gotta spread his legs, but I love this cloak, or whatever you call this. So I have the fabric is really thin, so it drapes nicely. It does have wires on the edge, so you could pose it as you will. But this cloak, or whatever you call this, tunic, gives me hope that their Nazgul is gonna be phenomenal, because that is the worst part. I would say on the Asmus side is the cloak is a little too thick, so it doesn't drape like this. That is the key. It has to be thin. And this is him. I love this look as well. My God, look at that. He's rocking back and forth now because of the weight of the backpack that is bearing on him. But you can't deny this look just looks phenomenal. It's a shame, because I wish I have two bodies so I can display both, because it's a shame to keep this head sculpt in a box, nor the unmasked head sculpt. This looks more like a figure to me, though. This screams more like an action figure, but the other one, it's just such a shame. I wish they would sold a spare body for this. Really, I do, because I will definitely buy that. And this is all the Inart figures. Well, not all of them. I got Aragorn in a special case with my Chaos, so I'm not gonna take it out. But this is my fourth Inart, and I'm pretty happy with how they turned out. And thank God for Inart for coming through and giving us these figures. I'm more of a Warner guy, so the lineup that they have just suits and fits better for my collection. Superman is one of the best figures. This Man of Steel, one of the best figures in my collection. Joker is up there too. I started to like him more and more now. So final thoughts on Paul Atreidis. I think if you're a Dune fan, the only thing better than this figure is the deluxe version. And I highly recommend that. If I get even with all the issues that I had, with the hair and the nose plug just randomly being broken on me, I would do it all over again. As a matter of fact, I'll do it all over again and get the deluxe version. I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't the biggest fan of Dune when this came out. Yeah, I've seen the movie initially, but I wasn't like a huge fan of it. And then I rewatched it when I got this figure, and I got hooked. Then I watched Dune 2 right off the bat, even a better movie. And then now I'm watching the TV series Prophecy, and I'm deep into this lore now of Dune. I can't wait for Dune 3 now. So If I can do it all over again, and I'm totally being honest here, I would have gotten the deluxe rooted hair version. Heck, I might still. You know, if I get that, then I got two bodies. Then I this one probably would go in a, you know, I don't know, somewhere. And then display the rooted hair version and then use this other body for the masked version. But we'll see. If you have all toys, that might work. I don't know if the body works. Let me know in the comments. I personally don't have that. But right now I can't display because I don't want to buy all toys. You know, like I know they have Leto and Gurney, but I don't know. It's just, it's not inspiring me to buy those figures, knowing that, you know, Inart is here and they look so much better. I don't know, man. It's just hard. But let me know in the comments if you feel like this delivered and if you have one. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel.